Hello guys, F here. Yeah, re-recording my Breaking Bad review because last time someone posted above or below rather. My voice turned to I turned into Heisenberg, and the review could not be completed due to technology resources on my computer. And then tomorrow or this evening, probably tomorrow, I'll repost my Game of Thrones video review, which is on another thread if you go back in your browser. Anyway, so Breaking Bad. So the creator Vince Gilligan described Breaking Bad as the story of Mr. Chips turning into Tony Montana, Scarface. Sort of like you wanted to show like the natural progression of what it would take for something like that to happen, or what those steps would actually look like. And I think that is a great idea. You know what I mean? Like I like things which are sort of grounded in reality. That's why I'm not minding, like, you know, Christopher Nolan's Batman interpretation per se, although it's not the traditional Batman. I like things which sort of like tie back into our world, because that sort of gives it an extra emotional jazz and investment on our part. So in the same way, taking such an everyday sort of guy like Walter White, which is an ex-chemistry or chemistry teacher, and then slowly putting him into these more awkward and then eventually dangerous situations, to the point where he's so much into it that he is a fully fledged drug lord, is an interesting story. Definitely. I mean, how many stories are there of like like I said in my other review, like it makes perfect sense. Like he's a chemistry teacher, so he would know how to make perfect meth from a chemistry perspective, and now that is exactly what he's doing. So first of all, just a couple of basic things out of the way. You know, Bryan Cranston really is coming into his own as an actor. Not much more can be said about his acting. It's great. He deserves all those Emmy wins. Aaron Paul also is excellent with his, you know, when he's angry and when he's semi-crying, stuff like that. Great actors. Skylar is annoying. I can sort of understand the Skylar hatred out there. And of course Walter Jr. is also in the mix there, which is he's sort of like the simple sort of character, sort of trying to you know, like he sort of like represents the, what do you call it, the moral right or neutral ground, like when all this crazy stuff is happening around him. You know, Walter Jr. is the sort of baseline, like, hey guys, you're doing all this crazy stuff. I'm just a normal kid, you know, trying to grow up. Why is this happening? So he's oblivious to what's going on, which creates an interesting story dynamic. Of course, the main sort of tension throughout the whole series is like how many people are going to be sort of like finding out about this Walter White character doing all these things. And the first tension was him and Skylar. Now Skylar has found out, so now Skylar has been sucked into his realm. The next major draw cut is Hank, his brother-in-law, and Walter White. Like, what the hell is going to happen? He's already suspecting it, but what the hell is going to happen when Hank finds that out? That's going to be crazy. There has to be like a final. It has to be like a series finale thing. If I'm not mistaken, this is the last season. I think they're splitting it into two, but don't quote me on that. I can't remember off the top of my head. Definitely a major theme throughout the movie is that how sort of like, not really a theme per se, but a major plot point which is persistent throughout is here is a, you know, normal guy. He's becoming this crazy drug lord. How many innocent people can this guy eventually affect, coming from such small beginnings? And you had the whole plot with the plane crashing over Alabama or whatever. That was, you know, I can understand people saying like a little bit unbelievable, but I sort of enjoyed it. Like, you know, like these little things that get affected, like the butterfly effect. The plane sort of, the pilot got distracted. That's right, not the pilot. The air traffic controller sitting at his computer desk got distracted because I believe his daughter, I can't remember what his name was, Jane maybe, the one that was having a relationship with Jesse Pinkman, and just off the cuff, that scene where she's like choking on her own vomit, and that's right, I'm remembering this now, and Walter White has the chance to save her, and he knows from a business perspective it's best to let her die. He just lets her die, and I was like, Jesus Christ, man, Jesus Christ. And of course, later on, that's another plot point. Like, what the hell is going to happen when Jesse Pinkman finds out that Walter White has let this girl die? If he ever finds out, I mean, that is going to. I don't think he can ever let him find out. The story can't go that way, because he will kill Walter White straight away, and that, of course, they'll close off a lot of plot points, obviously. But the character of Gus, played by Juan Carlos Exposito, excellent. I didn't remember where I saw him from, but then I remember from Homicide: Life on the Street. Very sort of cool, calm, methodical, realistic drug dealer, like not wanting to show all his cards on the table, not wanting to be flashy, just being this very calm, deliberate, in control, logical, like Los Polos Hermanos businessman. He was a great character, and just seeing his face like explode, seeing the bomb explode, and then seeing his face. That's right. When you see him walk out of that thing, of the building, you think, okay, why the hell is he adjusting his tie still? What the hell? How can he survive that? I'm like, that's bullshit. I'm like, that is horseshit. Then what happens? Then it pans around, and you see his face, and like, wow, that is crazy. And that's another thing I like. These guys like playing around with the titles. So, for example, the title to the season finale last season was Face Off, and you think, oh, okay, it's going to be a face-off between Gus and Walter or someone else, and then literally it means his face got blown half to hell. So, very sort of like witty, and keeps us on our toes a little bit. The Hank character, I like him, the DEA agent, Walter White's brother-in-law, I think. Well, anyway, the Hank character. So the section in last season where, that's right, the episode where he got crushed between two cars, and there's two was this Mexican, Spanish, sorry, I'm not sure. I think that episode where they sort of pinned him up against the car won a Best Director episode, which I can understand, because I think they shot some of these scenes in like really sort of like slow speed cameras. For example, you had that shot where the boot is on the ground, and then you see like the bullet casing just fall so slowly. You got every single detail on screen, so I can understand that. Yeah, that scene where he gets crushed, and then he loses loss of his legs, and then it shows the emotional repercussions throughout him and his wife and his family. That really got to me. Like, I'm like, wow, this guy. And then he started acting like an asshole towards his wife when she's trying to help all the time. She's got all these crystals and things. She's going she's like a spiritual freak. Like, she's got all these crazy purple. I know a little bit about spirituality. Apparently, purple is sort of like a color which is something to do with the chakra. Like, it attracts positive energy towards you. It's funny because she's always wearing purple clothing. Purple like clothes, purple like drapes, purple plates, and purple crystals all around him. And I think one episode, Hank's like, enough of this crap or whatever. But yeah, that's sort of like showing him he's like just in bed, immobile, having to lift himself up through like a pull system and that. And it's like, wow, this guy really loved his job, and now he can't. He basically his humanity and his sort of like whole life was destroyed because of Walter, and he doesn't even know it yet. That was an excellent sort of idea, sort of having that sort of realization that Walter White is having this effect on all these people, and look at the effect it's having on his own close family. So that's ridiculous. I like the part where like Walter sort of like buys the car, and that car, and then he starts doing burnouts because he can't use it anymore. Then he lights it on fire, then he walks away, and you're thinking, oh, okay, we're gonna get the classic shot where as he's walking away, the car explodes, and they don't do that. So these writers are planning ahead like a lot. Similar to Game of Thrones, like this is how writing pretty much should be done. Similar to Mad Men as well, like they're thinking, okay, if we do this now, what's going to happen in X amount of episodes? Is it going to work for it, or is it not? If it's not, we need to start introducing these elements in this episode now. This is how writing should be done. This is textbook writing. So I think AMC has got a lot going for it, like Mad Men, The Walking Dead to a lesser extent, and you got all those what other shows are there on AMC? Breaking Bad. These are all sort of like shows which these guys are writing it the way writing should be done, planning ahead, and that really does show through in the writing style of Breaking Bad, which is why it's one of the best shows on television at the moment. What else can be said about it? The lawyer character, Saul, Better Call Saul, classic character, hilarious. Tuco, the cocaine crazed tight guy, that is also, how can you forget that character? And of course, I can't remember the guy's name, the guy with the bell, another memorable character, and fitting that he would kill Gus himself as one last FU using that same bell system. And I found it funny that scene where he's saying he wants to talk to the DEA, and then he's writing using those boards, like A, B, C, D, E, ding, and then he like spells out like kiss my ass or whatever, and then Hank gets upset. Alright, so we got about 4 minutes to go. Yeah, like I said, like Breaking Bad, like an excellent story of how one everyday person, just like anyone else walking the streets out there, gets involved so deep that there's no turning back now, and it's a really good showcase of like a slippery slope into the world of the drug trade, to the point where he can't come out of it. So I'm definitely keen to see how Skylar sort of operates in the mix here, and keen to see if Hank ever does find out. Keen to see if Jesse and Walt can work together one more time without fighting, and of course just keen to see like how crazy like Walter is going to go. Like, is he gonna? I'm just guessing like now he's going to probably start taking like innocent people on the street hostage just because that'll sort of like help him in some way. Like he's going to go full on bad, and I don't want these guys to blow their load too early, because once they make him fully bad, it's very expectant that he's going to be that bad for the rest of the whole series. So it's like having a haircut. You can always cut off a little bit more hair, but once it's cut off, you can't staple it back on. So it's very easy for them just to go full on psycho mode. Let's not do that, writers. Let's take a step at a time and do the things which make the show really good, which is having these slow paced scenes. This is what I was talking about in my Prometheus review. Like, you need to have room and have scenes where these actors can sort of breathe and sort of like talk about stuff in detail. So you have those scenes where you got two characters looking at each other. There doesn't necessarily have to be words. They're just looking at each other. Actors being paid the money they do. They're giving emotional expressions, and you're thinking, okay, that guy's expression that emotion because of this plot point and that plot point, stuff like that. And then it's much more fulfilling later on when something crazy happens because you have all the lead up to it. Very basic stuff, but it's not being followed very much in the television realm. Overall, yeah, I'm very keen that the season is going to start next month. Breaking Bad, I think, yeah, if you guys aren't into it and you're on the fence about it, get into it. I got recommended by someone that was watching Dexter. He's like, oh, Dexter's pretty good, but yeah, Breaking Bad is probably the best thing on TV at the moment. And I understand some people's concerns, like it's a little bit slow to start off with, but once you're in it, like boom, like yeah, it's similar to The Wire. You got to give it some time to burn. Once it is ignited, boom, like you're fully sucked into the world. You're wondering like how crazy Walter White is going to go. Is he going to sort of like stop? Actually, he can't basically stop. But yeah, definitely the main sort of theme about it is like how many how much collateral is this guy going to take with him as he's going down, as I'm predicting that he's going to go down, as this sort of like Heisenberg alter ego. I mean, that scene where he's like, like, this is my town, stay out, and he's like walking away and he's got the whole hat thing. It's just really is amazing to think that that guy was the chemistry teacher. Now look at him now, and it's sort of like showing how his confidence is growing, but his confidence is growing a little bit too much because now he's a drug lord. Alright guys, I'm going to stop this before it goes overtime. Breaking Bad, check it out. Hopefully my voice hasn't effed up during this thing. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on Breaking Bad, and yeah, I'll do Game of Thrones review next, and can't wait for next season of Breaking Bad on AMC. Thanks.